What happens with this, they've done a study, not only is it related to many different problems, but one study has found that if a person drinks 1 to 2 sodas a day, their risk of becoming overweight or obese is about 33%.
Is this a Diet Coke?
No, this is a regular Coke.
Okay.
The risk of becoming obese or overweight is about 33%. But if they consume 1 to 2 diet sodas a day, their risk of becoming overweight or obese is about 54%.
Increases.
So a lot of people are thinking, hey, I'm drinking a diet soda, and so I'm safe from becoming overweight. No, you're increasing, you're almost doubling your risk of becoming overweight. And that's the other thing sugar does. Sugar tells our body to store fat. And sugar is the excessive amount of sugar, and realize Americans take about 150 pounds of sugar per person per year.
That's unbelievable.
Which is about 18 tablespoons per person per day. That's 18 tablespoons a day. And so what's happening is, because 16 to 18, about 48 teaspoons of sugar a day. Can you imagine 48 teaspoons of sugar a day? That's the average American. No wonder we have an obesity epidemic, a high cholesterol epidemic, a high blood pressure epidemic from the weight gain, a heart disease epidemic, a cancer epidemic because it feeds cancer, an ADD epidemic. You realize that so many kids in school have ADD, ADHD. Teachers are writing the parents or calling the parents saying, this child needs Ritalin. Yeah. I tell them, no, they need simply to eat more living foods and to make the right choices.
Get off sugar.
I think it's important that people understand, too, that sugar is literally like throwing gasoline on a fire to cancer cells. Don, tell them about that test.
Well, the PET scan. See, what happens when we want to see where cancer is, we'll order a PET scan, which is a special scan similar to a CAT scan. But what they do is they inject sugar to a tracer, and then they see where the tracer goes in the body. Now, cancer cells love sugar, so the tracer is going to be accumulated in the organ that has the most cancer cells, because cancer cells are going to be eating sugar. That's his favorite food.
And that's how they find it.
Unfortunately, many oncologists, cancer specialists are out there when a person's on chemotherapy say, oh, eat bowls of ice cream to keep your weight up, eat cake, eat pies, eat cookies, keep your weight up. Realize when you're eating that food, you're weakening your immune system and you're feeding cancer its favorite food.
Sugar.
Sugar.
Now, in your book, you talk about the best diet news ever. I want to hear it. What is it?
Well, the best diet news ever is, Mary loves this, and I should let her talk about it. Chocolate is good for you. But the right kind of chocolate. Oh. Wait, before you run down and get your Milky Ways.
It's not milk chocolate, I can tell you that.
That's
because it tastes good.
Now, wait now. Regular dark chocolate tastes good. The whole kicker here, you don't want milk chocolate. You want dark chocolate that doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. Again, if you're eating milk chocolate loaded with sugar, you're not going to get the health benefits. But we know that chocolate helps to dilate the blood vessels. It's good for the inner lining or the endothelial cells, and it helps to protect the blood vessels. So a little chocolate, I tell people, a little bit is great for you, but don't eat that chocolate late at night. First of all, you're going to wake up wearing the chocolate. Second of all, you're going to have a blood sugar drop in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's going to keep you up, because chocolate works like caffeine. It can keep you up and affect your sleep.
Let's talk about something Americans don't want to do, and that's exercise. There are volumes of information about where to exercise, how much exercise. The question I'd like for you to, how do you succeed at exercising? You approach this in your book.
Well, first of all, I have to paint the picture of what exercise does to our body. Realize our body is 2/3 water. We have like a pond on the inside of us. And have you ever gone by a stagnant pond and you've seen green slime on that pond? and you see all kinds of vermin in that pond? I once drove by a pond, a stagnant pond. I saw ducks in there flapping around with green slime all over their feathers. And I said, look at those crazy ducks. Why did they choose that slimy pond? Well, realize when we don't exercise, but when you take that same pond and you clean the gunk out and then you put a fountain in the middle of it, it stirs the waters. It prevents the slime and the vermin and the toxins from building up. Exercise is similar to our bodies. It stirs our waters. and prevents disease from accumulating. It keeps our lymphatics going. And the lymphatics is one of the most important detox systems of our body, the way we're designed. Now listen to the way God designed us, which is really odd. I wouldn't have designed it this way. Our blood flows throughout the body, but alongside every blood vessel is a little lymphatic vessel. Now lymphatics simply have well, the lymphatics is the fluid that goes through the lymph nodes. We have about 600 lymph nodes that filters the blood, kills viruses and bacteria. It's like straining it through a filter. And then the lymphatic catches all the old debris, the cellular debris, and then it's like the waste of the body goes through the lymphatics. Now, God designed for our lymphatics to run upward, and depending on muscle contraction to propel them. So we only get our lymphatic fluid going through the body for a full circulation through the body only once a day. And so in other words, if you don't exercise, that lymphatic is going to get stagnant, and you're going to be more likely to breed disease. But when you exercise, the muscle contraction propels the lymphatics. But in the head and neck, it goes down. But everywhere else in the body, it runs up. The exercise will propel the lymphatics so that the lymphatics can dump their metabolic waste and their toxins 3 times or more a day. It's one of the best ways to stir our waters and get rid of the waste products, the toxins, the metabolic waste, etc.
How much exercise do you need to do every day to make your body do that? And if you say 2 hours...
No, you don't need 2 hours. In fact, I tell people, start slow, maybe 5 minutes. For a lot of people, I'll say, just park your car further out in the parking lot. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. I'll say, instead of sitting down at lunch and talking and watching TV, go out with your friends just for a stroll. But as we condition our heart, we want to eventually exercise 20 to 30 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. And not only aerobic exercise, but I tell them flexibility exercises are also very important. I have a 5-minute flexibility program that everyone can do and make them feel wonderful and correct their posture. Also, I tell them strengthening exercises are also real important, because I have people that come in my office and they're in their 70s or 60s and they can't get out of the tub, or they can't even get off the toilet. They need assistance. So I show them how to strengthen their body so that when they get older, they can live independently instead of in a nursing home.
Now, in the exercise of the body, I read someone's book the other day that said you need to exercise in the morning about 30 minutes, because that gets your metabolic rate up, and then exercise some in the evening. If I exercise in the evening, and there's no way I'm going to go to bed. It's just not going to happen. Right.
Well, let me tell you, first of all, everyone's different. I tell people, choose the exercise you love. If you choose an exercise you hate, you won't stick with it. Choose one you love. Second of all, choose a time that's good for you. If you're not a morning person, don't wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning and exercise. I have found the best time to exercise for myself and for most people is simply after work. At about 5:30 or 6, right after work, on the way home, right near my house, within 5 minutes of the house is a gym. I just go in there, work out 30, 45 minutes, and I go home and eat. Simple way, and I burn off these stress chemicals. I do it about 4 hours before, 3 to 4 hours before I go to bed, so I'm not interfering with my sleep. If you exercise too late at night, you're absolutely right. It will interfere with your sleep.
This body was meant to be used. The body was meant to move. It was not meant to be just sedentary and to sit behind a desk and a computer or sit on your couch and change the remote control. God made us to move, and it's really true. If you don't use it, you will lose it.
I want to thank you both for coming. Thank you, Doctor, for writing another wonderful book.
Thank you.
And I want to encourage those of you who are listening to this telecast today to go out and get yourself a copy of the 7 Pillars of Health. Read it and then do it. If you rest, if you exercise, if you eat living foods, if you learn how to detox your body on the right kinds of foods, you can have divine health. But if you smoke and you get cancer, that's your gift to yourself. That's only a process of the spirit of stupidity controlling your life. And I know a lot of wonderful friends that I have sitting in my congregation who listen to me talk about taking care of the temple that God gave you and are doing everything contrary to the law of God. But when they get sick, they come running to my office saying, please pray for me. Take care of yourself, and God will help you have abundant life.